Now on Denver 7 News. Your check is on the way. How you can get a state sales tax refund, even if you haven't filed state taxes this year.
We are taking you inside a new kind of virtual reality training, how it is trying to help better prepare first responders to keep our communities safe. And after thousands of beagles were rescued from a medical testing facility, we are looking into why this breed is used for that testing in the first place and how you can help get them into new homes.
We start today with breaking news. Firefighters in Aurora are battling fires at 3 homes on Whitaker Drive just south of Quincy Reservoir. The first calls for help went out about 90 minutes ago. Denver 7 reporter Rob Harris is down the street from those fires. Rob, what have you been able to learn?
So yeah, Jessica, I actually just spoke with the Aurora Fire Department just a few minutes ago, and we are told, thankfully, there are no injuries from these fires. But I will step out of the way so you can see we're just across the street here. And we are told that 3 homes have been damaged by these flames. I'm not seeing any active flames at this point, but firefighters are still on scene, spraying with water to make sure we don't see those flames pop back up. They're also investigating to try to determine the cause of that the fires that popped up. We don't know the cause yet. We're hoping to learn that soon. Another thing that I'm told is that the firefighters are taking shifts essentially and rehabbing from heat with water, because between the flames and the intense heat outside, it has become very overbearing for many of them. We're told we should hopefully learn more here in the next few minutes. Jessica?
Keep our viewers updated. Well, Denver 7 is digging deeper into what a Loveland mom did to protect her and her children from the ex-boyfriend who ultimately killed her and her teenage daughter last week. In documents obtained by Denver 7, Lindsay Dahm filed a temporary civil protection order against her alleged killer, Javier Acevedo, in September of last year. Then this past June, she was granted a temporary civil protection order claiming she was a victim of domestic abuse, writing that her ex threatened to kill her over the phone, sent her threatening emails, and slashed her tires. In that order, it was marked that Acevedo was not allowed to possess or purchase a firearm or ammunition. By Colorado law, he would have been required to relinquish his weapon. And we know the gun used last week was purchased legally in March of 2021.
It also helps in that it limits gun ownership for people who have been in domestic violence and have a protection order against them. The unfortunate part is it's a piece of paper and people can still get a hold of guns.
The Colorado Domestic Violence Fatality Review Board says more than 60 people died in Colorado in fatal domestic violence related incidents in 2020. Firearms are the main weapons used in the reviewed cases by the board.
A new measure aims to help cover certain costs for patients who need to travel out of state for an abortion. It's President Biden's second executive order on reproductive health since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. States will need to apply for Medicaid waivers when treating patients in this situation. White House leaders say this is meant to help low-income people covered by Medicaid. There are new concerns that more evictions could be coming.
This is a really hard time for all tenants, but also HUD tenants in particular, who are oftentimes some of the poorest families in the community.
Evictions in HUD-assisted housing are now returning to pre-pandemic levels or higher. More than 80% of attorneys in a recent survey from the National Housing Law Project are reporting that, but the nonprofit believes it could be higher because this only represents tenants who are being represented by an attorney. That's only 3% of tenants nationally. They're also hearing from advocates who say evictions among people outside of HUD-assisted housing are rising as well.
Especially if you're facing an eviction for non-payment of rent, it's a good time to talk to your landlord and try and negotiate because, landlords understand that this is a really hard time right now with the inflation rising. Again, rents are really spiraling out of control.
Now, you might be able to come up with a repayment plan. That is something that HUD housing advocates are pushing housing authorities to be required to provide as well.
Fundamental to the HUD programs is that tenants pay 30% of their income in rent. But what we're hearing is that in many cases, tenants are in fact being forced to pay well above 30% of their income in rent.
Emergency rental assistance is still available in some cases. The Treasury Department is allowing communities to use the last of the money for eviction prevention longer. There are proposals to continue to fund the emergency rental assistance program.
Amazon, UPS, FedEx handling the increase in package deliveries is a problem at many apartment complexes. But Contact Denver 7 is hearing complaints about a new package delivery service, adding yet another fee for renters. Robin Knowlton reached out to Contact Denver 7 because her lease renewal at the Meadows at Meridian in Parker not only had a 10% rent increase, it included a mandatory $17 a month subscription for Fetch. Now, Fetch is an off-site package delivery company that provides scheduled door-to-door deliveries at apartments. The company has an F rating with the Better Business Bureau, with dozens of complaints about late deliveries, lost packages, and difficulty scheduling.
And these corporations, they're at the top just trying to figure out how they're going to make more money off of you. And it's just, what happened to doing the right thing? When did our society become all this greed?
The BBB reports a growing number of property managers are requiring tenants use Fetch and won't allow them to opt out. Contact Denver 7 reached out to the Meadows at Meridian with no response, and we're also waiting to hear from the Colorado Apartment Association about this controversial trend. Well, the check's in the mail, or soon it will be. The state has begun the process of sending out nearly 2.5 million sales tax refund checks to Coloradans. This is money that would have been refunded next year under Colorado's Taxpayer Bill of Rights, but lawmakers decided to send it out now.
Why? Because you need it now, obviously. Does anybody want the government sitting on your money for 10 months? I don't think anybody wants that. So let's get it back to you now when you need it. You're dealing with gas prices, you're dealing with rent, back to school if you have kids. We know that you can use this money rather than sitting in Treasurer Dave Young's coffers for a year. We'll just get it back to you because you know how to spend it.
Well, the checks are being sent to anyone who lived in Colorado all of last year and has already filed their state income taxes. If you didn't file taxes, maybe you don't have any income, you are still eligible for those sales tax refund checks. You will find instructions on the state website. 43% of restaurant operators believe economic conditions will get worse in the next 6 months. That's according to data from the National Restaurant Association. Restaurants in Denver are feeling the economic impact. Colorado's sushi chain Hapa is sending discounts and coupons to customers, encouraging them to stop in. And Coffee at the Point in 5 Points is temporarily closed through mid-September. DU economics professor Mac Klaus says that these types of situations will likely become more common.
The businesses are going to try to do something because we're starting to see the slowdown in consumer spending, and that's in response to the high prices and the fact that they're seeing that their wage dollars aren't going as far as they used to.
The owner of Coffee at the Point said his vendors just increased prices 15%, just 6 months after the last increase.
The newsfeed starts with OPEC boosting oil output at a slower pace than in previous months. The group of top oil producing countries, led by Saudi Arabia, said it will increase its output to 100,000 barrels a day next month, but that's compared to 648,000 a day in July and August. The slowdown's coming with inflation, raising concerns about energy demand. Lawmakers are looking to regulate the crypto world. A bipartisan group is now proposing a new bill that would give the power to the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. This is a smaller group than one that you may have heard of if you know the stock market, the Securities Exchange Commission. There have been several proposals this year around cryptocurrency. Now, your credit score, we know that that is much more than just a number. There are real world impacts from that credit score. And Equifax says a tech issue resulted in faulty scores being sent out for 3 weeks this year. This impacted millions of people. Equifax now says that coding issue has been fixed. Now, you likely wouldn't expect climate change to be part of a nurse's education. Why more school curriculums are including it and how this could impact your care in the future.
And they are the talk of the town. Up next, Rocky Ford melons are already hitting store shelves, but you're going to have to wait a few more weeks to enjoy another famous Colorado melon.